Hello everyone, in this video we'll study about TCP congestion control mechanisms. So here TCP congestion control. TCP provides a reliable transport service between the two processes running on different hosts, and TCP must use end-to-end congestion control rather than network assisted congestion control mechanisms. So here the sender limits the rate at which it sends the traffic into the network. So when it's going to send the traffic into the network, the TCP sender that is going to increase its send rate whenever it is going to receive the acknowledgement in the proper format. So there are three questions that need to be asked here. Here the first question is, how does a TCP sender limit the rate at which it's going to send the traffic into its network or to its connection? The second question is, how does a TCP sender will come to know that there is a congestion on the path between itself and the destination? And the third one is, what is the algorithm that is used by the sender to change its rate of transmission rate? That is, the sending rate need to be reduced or increased. So what is the algorithm that is being used for this purpose? So we need to answer these questions. The first one here is, the first question that we are going to answer here is how the TCP sender is going to limit the rate at which it's going to send the traffic into the network. So for this purpose we are going to consider the traffic. Traffic is nothing but the congestion, and whenever we are talking about the congestion and the traffic, we are going to consider certain variables such as last byte rate, that is receiver window and the sender window, and the receiver buffer, whether it is a connection oriented or connectionless. These are some of the things that we are going to consider. And the second question is, how we are going to how the sender is going to come to know that there is a congestion in the network. If there is a lost segment, then lost segment it's going to imply that there is a congestion. So then if the acknowledged segments indicate that the network is delivering the sender segment to the receiver, and receiver can increase the rate at which it's going to send the data. That is one more hint that is given by the network. Next one is about the bandwidth probing. Bandwidth probing is something like the sender is going to increase the rate at which it's going to send the data. It can double every time until a loss of data occurs. Whenever there is a loss of a packet or a segment, then the sender is going to decrease the rate at which it's going to send the data. So here there is one more concept called as additive increase and multiplicative decrease. In this approach, the sender increases the transmission rate, that is the window size, probing for usable bandwidth until loss occurs. And it is similar to the third approach, that is called as a bandwidth probing. So here additive increase and multiplicative decrease. Increase the congestion window by 1 MSS every RTT until the loss is detected. And multiplicative decrease, cut the congestion window in half after the loss. So here we have a graph where we have the AIMD, that is additive increase and multiplicative decrease. It is similar to the sawtooth behavior. So here we can see the graph. Here we have a additive increase. So it has been increased by 1 bit, which means that you can send the 1 packet right now. And see, there is a decrease in the congestion window size. It has been reduced to half. Again there is an increase. You can see it has been reduced to half. Again there is an increase. So this is how it is going to work. Here additively increase the window size. Initially increase it by 1 and decrease. Again increase until what? Until the loss occurs, you are going to increase the window size. So you can see here there is a additive increase. There is no loss. So again increase. There is no loss. Again increase by 1. So again increase by 1. Additive is you are going to increase it by every time by 1 MSS bit. Whereas decrease, it is called as a multiplicative. There is a sudden decrease. Whereas the increase is, it is like a linear graph, whereas decrease is a sudden loss. So decrease it to half of the existing window. So every time there is a additive increase and a sudden decrease. It will be every time it will be reduced to half of the existing window. So this is called as an additive increase and multiplicative decrease method, and this is similar to that of the sawtooth. So it is called as a sawtooth behavior, and the mechanism is called as bandwidth proving. So this is the graph for this additive increase and multiplicative decrease. So here we have a TCP congestion control, and the third question that we asked was which is the algorithm that is used to control the congestion. So you have the algorithm, and that algorithm, it is going to consist of three major components. The first component we call it as a slow start, and the second component is congestion avoidance, and the third is a fast recovery. The slow start and the second one, congestion avoidance, these are the mandatory components of the TCP. But whereas the third one, that is the recovery mechanism, that is not the mandatory one. That is the fast recovery, it is recommended, but it is not the required component in case of TCP congestion control algorithm. So here we have different kinds of packets along with the congestion window. Here we have the last byte acknowledged, the one which are with the green color, these are the acknowledged packets, and here is the last packet that was acknowledged by the receiver, and here are the yellow ones are sent, but you have not yet got the acknowledgement for these packets. The one with the blue ones, you have sent those packets, but you are not even expecting the acknowledgement. That is, these are the packets that were sent, but the blue ones, these are going to indicate that you can send these packets to the receiver, but you have not yet sent these packets. And here the one with the gray ones, you cannot send those packets because they are out of the congestion window range. So the one with the yellow and blue color packets, they are within the range of congestion window. So these are the one which are within the congestion window. So these are the packets sent and you have not yet received the acknowledgement. So sender limits the transmission. So last byte sent minus last byte acknowledged, which has to be lesser than or equal to the congestion window. So here we have the last byte sent, and here we have the last byte sent, and here we have the last byte acknowledged, and they are within the congestion window. So they are lesser than or equal to the congestion window. Congestion window is dynamic and function of perceived network congestion. So here congestion window, so the transmission at which the sender is going to send the data, everything is depending upon the congestion window. If there is a loss in the network or loss in the if the sender receives the acknowledgement, then it's going to perceive that the network is a kind of idle or there is a bandwidth availability, so it's going to increase its transmission rate. If the network is busy, that is, if there is a loss of packet, then it's going to decrease the rate at which it's going to send the packets. So here TCP sending rate, roughly send to congestion window bytes, wait for the RTT for acknowledgements, then send more bytes. Here the TCP sending rate, it's going to increase it every time by 1, that is 1 MSS. So here send the congestion window bytes, that is whatever the data that is present in the congestion window, send it by 1 byte and wait for the RTT. RTT is round trip time. You send the data and you wait for the acknowledgement. You wait for the acknowledgement of that data. If you receive the acknowledgement, then you are going to assume that there is a availability of the bandwidth. Then send more bytes. So send first, if you have sent one packet first time, and if you have received the acknowledgement, next time send more bytes, that is next time send 2 bytes. And if you receive the acknowledgement for even for those 2 packets, then increase the rate at which you are sending. So send more bytes. If we are sending 2, next time increase it to 4 bytes. And this is how we are going to increase the sending rate at the sender side. So here we have the first phase or the first component, that is the slow start. So in case of slow start, you have the exponential increase. That's what we see here. Here the sender is sending, initially the sender is sending 1 congestion window, that is 1 byte of the congestion window. So you have sent the sender has sent the first byte, the receiver has received, so it is sending the acknowledgement packet. So round trip time is the sending the packet moves from sender to the receiver, and the acknowledgement that you receive from the receiver. This is the 1 round trip time. So as soon as you receive the acknowledgement, you are going to increase the sending rate. So next time it is sending the 2. So you can see that you are sending 2 bytes of the congestion window. So you are sending here 2 bytes, first byte and second byte, and you receive the acknowledgement for even for that. So next time you increase it to 4, you can check here, you have received the acknowledgement. Again increase it to 16, next time increase it to 8, next time again increase it to 16. So here you can see a exponential increase. So how long you are going to increase this? Until you detect there is some loss or timeout mechanism. Until that cause, you are going to increase the sending rate at the sender side. So in slow start algorithm, the size of the congestion window increases exponentially until it reaches a threshold value. So you have noted set the threshold value here. You can see a start after 1 RTT, that is after 1 trip time, you are going to increase it to 2. After 2 RTTs, you are going to increase it to 4. 2 to the power 2 is 4. Again 2 to the power 3 is 8. You can see the same thing here. Initially it was 1, next time it was 2. 2 to the 2, 4. Again 2 to the power 3 is 8. And if you receive the acknowledgement for all the 8 packets, then you are going to increase it to 2 to the power 4. That is the 16. So it is called as an exponential increase. So every time in case of slow start, you are going to perform the exponential increase at the sending rate at the receiver. So until what you are going to perform this? Until you detect the packet loss or loss of that loss event is detected, you are going to increase it. So as soon as you detect the loss, you are going to decrease the congestion window to the threshold value. So you are going to come across a term called as SS thresh, where SS thresh is called as slow start threshold value. So till what you have increased right now, we are going to decrease it to half of the current value. That is called as a SS threshold value, and you are going to reduce it to congestion window by 2. Whatever the case of your current congestion window, you are going to reduce it to the half of the value. Here we can see when congestion begins, when connection begins, increase the rate exponentially until first loss occurs. So initially congestion window, you are sending 1 byte, next 2 bytes, 4 bytes, and this is going to continue. So initial rate is slow but ramps up exponentially fast. So TCP detecting reaction to the detecting and reacting to the loss. Loss is indicated by timeout mechanism, and congestion window will be set to 1 MSS. So as soon as you detect the loss, you are going to set the congestion window to 1 MSS. Right now you are at the you are transmitting 8 bytes of data, but you do not receive the acknowledgement for all the 8 bytes of data, which means that you have detected a timeout and the packet has been lost. So you have detected the timeout. So in that case, you are going to reduce the congestion window to 1 MSS. That is, you are going to come back to the initial state. So window grows exponentially to threshold, then grows linearly. Linearly is you are going to set to the 1 MSS. Again you are going to increase it by 1. Again if there is no packet loss, then again you are going to increase it exponentially. So here you are going to set some threshold value, and if the congestion window reaches that threshold value, then after that it does not grow exponentially but it grows linearly, which means that suppose you have set the threshold value as 8. 8 is the threshold value. If the congestion window initially it was for 1, next time it was for 2, next it was 4, next 8. 8 is the threshold value. As soon as it reaches the threshold value, you are going to increase it by 1 because it is a linear growth. So you are going to increase it by 1, and if you don't detect any kind of congestion, again you are going to increase it by 1. So after 8 bytes of data, you are going to transmit 9 bytes, again 10 bytes, again 11 bytes. That you are going to increase the growth by 1 byte. Loss indicated by 3 duplicate acknowledgements. Here 3 duplicate acknowledgements, so they are definitely they are going to indicate that there is a loss of the packet what you have transmitted after that. So this mechanism is called as TCP Reno. And duplicate acknowledgements indicate network capable of delivering only some segments. And congestion window is cut in half window, then grows linearly. So if you detect 3 duplicate acknowledgements, then now you are going to detect the loss of packet, which is similar to that of timeout mechanism, and you are going to decrease the congestion window to half. You have seen 2 cases here. The first one is you are going to set, if you detect the loss of the packet by timeout mechanism, then you are going to set the congestion window to 1 MSS, then that mechanism it is called as a TCP Tahoe. And whereas the second case where you have going to come across 3 duplicate acknowledgements and you are going to reduce the congestion window to half, then you are going to call it as a TCP Reno. TCP Tahoe always sets congestion window to 1, timer, timeout or 3 duplicate acknowledgements. In any case, it's going to set the congestion window to 1, whereas TCP Reno it's going to cut it to half of the existing congestion window. So here we have the mechanism. You can see the timeout. Initially we are at the first, that is you are going to send 1 packet. You are going to increase it to 2, next 4, next 8, next 16. So you have set the threshold value to 16. When it reaches the threshold value, you are going to increase it linearly. That is, you are going to increase it to 17, 18, 19 and 20. So timeout mechanism has occurred and you have not received the acknowledgement. So you are going to reduce it to 1 again. So the congestion window has been set to 1, which is called as a TCP. Here you have TCP Tahoe, where you are going to always set the congestion window to 1. So this mechanism is a Tahoe mechanism. Timeout and you are going to set it the congestion window to 1. And as soon as you set the congestion window to 1, again you are going to increase it by 1, 2, next 4, next 8. From 8, the threshold value has been reached, that is 10. Initially the threshold value was 16, now the threshold value has been 10. As soon as it reaches the threshold value, you are going to increase it to 11, 12, where you have received the 3 duplicate acknowledgements. Then you are not going to reduce it to 1, but the congestion window has been reduced to half. So it was at 12, now it has been reduced to 6. So this is called as a TCP Reno. Again increase it by 1. So you can see the increase here. This is how it is going to continue. So TCP switching from slow start to the congestion window. The same thing we can indicate here. When should the exponential increase switch to linear? So here you have the exponential. Here we have it initially at 1, next to 2, next 4, next 8. It has reached the threshold value. As soon as it reaches the threshold value, you are going to increase it to a linear. From exponential you are going to come to a linear value. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it has reached the value where there is a timeout mechanism, that is TCP threshold. So you are going to come back to here, that is to the 1. Again you are going to increase it exponentially, and from here it is going to be linear. This is the TCP Tahoe value. Now if you are going for TCP Reno, then right now it is at 12 and it will be reduced to half, that is to this point. Again you are going to increase it linearly, then it is a TCP Reno. Here we can find the difference between both of them. So implementation variable is SS threshold, that is the slow start threshold value. On loss of event, SS threshold is set to half of the congestion window. So earlier it was here SS threshold, and right now the congestion has occurred here. At this point there is a timeout mechanism. So it has reached the more than the SS threshold value, and you are going to cut it to half. So right now the threshold value is 6. From 12 it has been reduced to 6. So the SS threshold value is set to half of the congestion window just before the loss of event. So just before the loss, the congestion window was at 12, so it has been reduced to 6. That is considered as an SS threshold value. So here we have the FSM diagram. Earlier we were at the slow start phase. Whenever you are at the slow start phase, you are going to set the congestion window to 1 MSS, and SS threshold value you are going to set it to some value that is considered as a 64 kilobytes. So right now there are no duplicate packets. So this is the initial stage. Now you can see the duplicate acknowledgements, and duplicate acknowledgements count plus because it has to reach 3. When you are going to receive 3 duplicate acknowledgements, you are going to consider it as a TCP Reno. Now you can see here new acknowledgement and congestion window is equal to congestion window plus MSS. Right now congestion window is at 1, 1 plus 1 it will be 2. Next time it will be 2. So right now the congestion window is at 2. So 2 plus 2, the next time it is going to be 4. So you are going to increase the congestion window exponentially, that is by congestion window is equal to congestion window plus MSS. and no duplicate acknowledgement such 0, which means that it is a normal procedure where the transmission takes place. So in this case, transmit new segment as allowed, and congestion window, it is again lesser than or equal to the threshold value. When this is the case, you are going for the congestion avoidance. Where congestion window is greater than or equal to the threshold value, you are going to decrease the transmission rate to 1, that is a linear. So to avoid the congestion, you are going for the linear increase in the sender data. So congestion new acknowledgement has been received. Congestion window is equal to congestion window plus MSS multiplied by MSS bit divided by congestion window. This will give you a value of 1. So every time you are going to increase it by 1. Right now congestion window is at what place? Plus 1, and no duplicate acknowledgements has been received. So no duplicate acknowledgements means we are ready to transmit the new segment, which will be increased by 1. So if you are going to receive the duplicate acknowledgements, that is if you are receiving the duplicate acknowledgement, you are still in the congestion avoidance phase, because you have not yet reached that value where the congestion has been occurred, but you are still greater than the SS threshold value. So here you can see timeout. After certain amount of time, the timeout occurs, and SS threshold value you are going to set it to congestion window by 2, and congestion window is equal to 1 MSS and duplicate acknowledgements retransmission. So the last phase is fast recovery. When you are going for the fast recovery, so duplicate acknowledgement count is equal to 0, and SS threshold value is equal to current window, it will be reduced to half, and current congestion window will be SS threshold plus segment, because we are going to retransmit the missing segments, because we have received the 3 duplicate acknowledgements. So duplicate acknowledgements, congestion window is equal to congestion window plus MSS, and it has been recovered. So new acknowledgement and duplicate count is equal to 0. So whenever this is the case, again you are going to increase it exponentially. Otherwise, you are going for the next phase. Here you can see the timeout mechanisms and new acknowledgements. So here the next one is about the TCP fairness. TCP fairness, you can see here there are 2 connections which are sharing the connection. So whenever you are sharing the connection, there will be a bottleneck, because the router has to transmit the data from both the clients. So then they are going to share the resource. If k TCP sessions share same connection, then the bottleneck link of bandwidth R should have the average rate of R divided by k, because here the k is considered as the rate, the number of packets that are being sent from both the connections. So here there are totally 4 packets that are being transmitted, where one of them they are getting the connection or one of them they are sending only 1 packet, whereas the connection 1 it is sending 3 packets, but it is not the fair transmission, because where it is to be R by 2 and R by 2, but right now it is R by 3 here, and it is R by 1, where it is sending only 1 packet, and this is for 3 packets. So it needed to provide the fairness. How we are going to provide the fairness is equal division of the bandwidth, and if one of the process, if one of the client it stops to send the data, then other can use that. Only when it is going to send the stop sending the data, only in that case it can use the data. So here we have the equal bandwidth share, and the connection is R by 2. If that is achieved, then you are going to achieve the highest bandwidth, highest throughput. Additive increase and multiplicative decrease mechanism. So fairness in UDP they are mainly used for multimedia applications where the loss can be tolerated. So whenever there is a loss in the loss of packets, in that case we are going to use for the UDP. Example is video conferencing and Skype calls, live sessions, they are going to use the UDP. Fairness parallel TCP connection. Applications can open multiple parallel connections between 2 hosts, which is similar to that of the persistent and non-persistent connection, where multiple parallel connections are being established when sending and receiving the data. Thank you.